Welcome to
Let's Talk Books Unscripted. It's a red wine night tonight. We don't drink a lot of red wine, but
we do on occasion. Yep.
It's the holidays.
Yeah.
So it's a red wine night.
Yeah, let us know what you're drinking. Maybe you're going to catch up on this later and you're going to watch during the day, but hopefully you can tune in right now. Hopefully you all had a Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, and a New Year's upon us soon.
Yes.
So that is exciting.
Tomorrow is the last day of the year.
Let us know if you ever have plans for New Year's Eve, or if you just sit at home on your couch like we do.
Yes.
We sometimes watch the movie New Year's Eve with it's like that all-star cast. Zac Efron's in it. Who else? Katherine Heigl. Just like a whole bunch of people.
A lot of people are.
So we don't watch it every year, but we do quite a few years, and then I end up with a book in my hand, obviously.
Yeah.
And, I'm reading pretty late.
Sally, hey.
Hi, Sally.
How's the weather
Merry
in
Christmas,
Arizona?
Happy holidays. Yeah, probably a lot warmer than here. Although today I feel like the last couple of days we've almost had kind of a heat wave.
It was 42 today. That's just crazy.
So it's kind of weird for
42.
late December.
Not complaining. So this is episode number 40. It's kind of crazy. We've done 40 episodes of this already. So it's been a good.
Not all of them have been live, but it's fun to come
Happy
live
New
now.
Year. Hi Liz, Happy New Year.
Thanks for tuning in.
I know, this is it, the end of the year. It's
It's crazy.
It's among us. So everyone is talking about, their favorite books of the year. I mean, if you
follow me on Instagram, I guess you would have gotten a sneak peek of my favorite books. I did post that earlier today.
In the 60s.
Oh, 60s, so not much higher than what we were experiencing here, actually.
That must be, that seems low.
Chilly for Arizona, yes.
That must feel really nice after all those hundreds.
Oh, right.
You
that
had
would
this
be
summer.
welcome, I'm sure. But yeah, so I posted my top 10, 12. I don't actually have the bonus 2 down here with me tonight, but I did put them in my post because it was really hard to narrow down. But I had 2 runner-up ones that could have made it into my top 10, but didn't quite. Burn. Here I'm that sounds amazing.
Freezing.
So I did my post. I did not do a post for Corey on there, but we knew we were coming on here tonight to share with you guys. But it is really hard. Corey didn't read as many books as I did this year, but I read almost 140 books. I think by tomorrow I will have finished my 140th. Actually, I'm almost done with an audiobook. So it is really hard to narrow down to 10 books when you read that many books in a year. Yeah. But I did my best.
Absolutely.
So there's still so many that are not getting, I feel the credit that they deserve in this video, but...
It is hard.
Just know that I had tons of amazing books, other 5-star, 4 or 5-star books that are not in this stack, but that were incredible.
If you have to choose 10 favorites...
Had to choose.
That's what we did.
Yeah.
There is one I didn't have in my possession. I would have included it, so really it's 11. So I'm not going to include that one because I don't have it with me. We lent it out to someone. That's how much I liked it when we lent it out.
One of mine I can't physically show because it was one that I actually just finished recently on my Kindle, so I'll just have to tell you about it. But that's why I couldn't really do my favorites until today. I was seeing so many people already post theirs, and I'm well, what if you read one?
You're right.
Right up until the end of the year that you love?
There's still one day left.
There was a Christmas book that I just finished recently, and it made it into my top 10 favorite books of the whole year. So.
Yeah. 83.
You don't do audiobooks. Yeah, audiobooks really help me. When people ask me how I do it, I do credit a lot of that to audiobooks because I can't promise I'll have the post up tomorrow, but I would like to get it posted very early in January just to show my stats from this year. It's always interesting to look back and I'll put how many books I read, but how many of them were physical, Kindle, and audiobook. And so off the top of my head, I would not be able to tell you how many audiobooks I did, and it's still not the majority of my reading, but it does really, really help. My number would be lower if I did not listen to audiobooks.
Oh, for sure.
So, it definitely adds to that number. Because I'm literally, I am 9 times out of 10 doing an audiobook when I am doing any kind of task. Or if I'm running errands by myself, I'm listening to an audiobook. I do that over music 9 times out of 10 when I'm doing chores. So.
Yes, well.
So that's how I'm able to get in some more reading. But yeah, audiobooks are not for everybody. But maybe, Sally, you could try one in the new year. That might be kind of fun.
Check one out.
If you want some recommendations, I am happy to send them your way. But yeah.
So yeah.
Let's kick things off here.
So they're not in any particular order.
Mine are. I mean, the top 3 are.
Yours
Did
sort
you
of
do
are.
That too, or no?
No,
Okay.
I did not put them in order.
Okay.
I can maybe share my top 3, but I couldn't really narrow it down that much. So these are just the top 10 books.
Yeah.
And they're going to be ones you've seen before that we've talked about quite a bit. So I apologize if you've heard us talk about them a million times, but...
I almost want to save my number 1 for the end instead of doing it first.
I don't think yours is a secret.
No, it's really not.
You can hide it,
You're
though.
just going to reveal it?
Why don't you hide it?
Oh, hide it, unless people already saw it up at the top. But.
If we wanted to be really fancy, we'd go like 10-1 and like the suspense.
I know. That's why I do want to say, I want to save my top 3 for the end.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to do.
Do that.
I'm going to save my top 3, but otherwise the rest of them are in no particular order necessarily. So.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I guess I liked them all equally. I don't know, but like for different reasons, obviously.
Yeah.
Do you want to start us off?
Yeah.
Or you want me to? Okay. Why don't you
So
go?
my first book in the stack is one I talked about a lot too, because it took me a while to get through it. But with that being said,
I'm surprised this is in your stack because I wasn't really sure how you felt about it.
One of the ways I'm basing my favorites is on how much it stuck with me. Like the books that have stuck with me the most are the ones that I've been thinking about the most, obviously. So I'm realizing they probably were some of the books that impacted me the most.
That's fair.
And that's one of my rating systems. Obviously, there's a lot to it. How much I liked it, how much it kept my attention, how well it was written. But I'm really just been thinking about the books that I can't stop thinking about.
Yeah.
And those have been some of my favorite books this year. Because this one I started off great, I hit a rough patch, and then it ended amazing. The ending just blew my mind, and that's how it got it into the top 10. But it is the book Misery by Stephen King.
That was it's your first.
So this is my first Stephen King book. So it's hard to compare it to other Stephen King books because I've read any Stephen King books. But with that being said, I would like to.
Yeah.
The next one I want to read is Pet Sematary. So I'm going to read that one. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Maddie.
Yeah. Thanks for
joining.
So I definitely want to read another Stephen King book this year, probably in October again, like I did with this one. But yeah, I've been talking about this book quite a bit. I haven't watched the movie yet, like I said I was going to, so I still want to watch the movie. But this book has just been kind of living in my mind because it was so disturbing. Like the main character was so disturbing, and yeah, it's just kind of been.
It might be one where I don't read it. I think that might be one where I'll watch the movie with you because like I know we've talked about this before, but I like massively struggle with slow books, and that was I think part of the reason it was taking you a while, but you also got distracted by other books. But like you say that the pacing was pretty slow, and he's just like really wordy.
The pacing is slow. The middle was slow, but the first 100 pages and the last 100 pages were so good, and that's how it won me over, especially the ending.
Because I do want to give him a try. I just don't know if I will read that one. Honestly, I might pick a different one by him and give him a try, and I may decide he's not for me. But I'd like to at least give one of his books a try and kind of see what happens. But
yeah, definitely loved it enough to read another one.
Okay, you loved the movie, Mary. Okay, I know because I definitely I feel like Kathy Bates would just like totally give me the creeps, and I would for sure watch it. But I just don't know about the book.
I was trying to watch the movie, and like I thought I could rent it on like Redbox or something for like $1.99.
Don't we have to buy it?
And it was like you had to buy it for like, oh man.
Don't know if we want to commit to that.
It'd be cool to like find an old VHS tape of it and watch it on like VHS.
Which we don't have.
That would be a winner. But so this is probably number 10. I would say this one's probably 10 in my top 10. It kind of snuck its way in just because it's
That's fair.
It.
All right, well, since we're on a thriller, well, I don't know. Yeah, you call that a thriller, don't you? I don't know. Or a slow burn thriller or horror. But still not like super gory, scary horror.
It's a disturbing horror.
It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're different like subgenres of horror. I don't know.
Disturbing.
Where it would be like pretty mild. Like more like a psychological.
It's a little creepy.
But this is a thriller. The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I feel like I think this was my second book by him. I read The House Across the Lake first, and I was not super impressed. It's not like I didn't dislike it, but there were just aspects to it that I really struggled with. So I was like, okay, well, he's got tons of other books. I'm not gonna just like write him off because of that one. So I think this might have been my second one by him. And I got it from the library, which was a big mistake. So if this tells you anything, I liked it so much that I needed my own copy because I would like to reread this eventually.
That's how you know.
It was so good. So it was nice to come off of the one that I was kind of meh about. And so like it's interesting because his books I'm discovering are very, very different. So it's the same author, but like they're just vastly different. Like some of them have a supernatural aspect in them, and like some of them don't as much. But this one was very, very creepy, like great psychological thriller for sure. It kept me on the edge of my seat. I was very interested like the whole time. So if you've never read anything by him, Billy Summers by Stephen King.
His best book, 11/22/63.
I would like to do 11/22/63.
That one,
it's a big book.
That one's I've heard nothing but amazing things.
Yeah.
It's huge though. I mean it's
a little intimidating for sure.
Me, but
yeah, if you have not read anything by Riley Sager, I mean, I might suggest starting with this one. However, you might like set yourself up for potential disappointment then if you read his others after it. But I don't know. I've not read a lot of his books. I've only read like 3. So, I mean, I may end up finding one that I like more than this one. However, it was really, really, really good.
That's been his best one for you so far.
Yes, for me so far, out of the 3 that I have read.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The next book on my list is one I've exhausted probably on here, so I'm going to be brief with it. But this book, Tender is the Flesh. So I don't need to say much more, but I really liked it. I mean, I know everyone's not going to like it, but I really liked it. It just really unnerved me in the
still didn't get the hair,
in the best way. The dog hair on it. It really just unnerved me in the right way. It was disturbing, but also very, very brilliant. Just with all the messages and undertones. There's like hairs everywhere. All right. So this is one I've been recommending to people that I know
everyone.
That I know can handle
it's not an everyone book, but
if someone's like looking for a book to this nature, I will recommend this one to them. And it is real short, which is nice. But if you can get past some of the gory and some of the just disturbing nature of this book, the messages in it are really, really excellent. And just it'll make you think. It'll make you really think.
Right before you read
Yes.
I don't know.
But it's very
you have a sensitive stomach.
But it is very disturbing. So just caution just caution. But
I saw that one on somebody's post today for suggestions if you still wanted to meet your reading goals before the end of the year.
This
because
one?
It's short.
Yeah.
They were like giving options for like short-ish books. Like there were some that are even like under 100 pages. This one's like just over 200.
Books you can crush before
but, like,
the
ones
new
you
year.
Could like fit in.
Yeah,
so that's on.
It's very quick. But yeah, look into this book. I would recommend it if you can get past some of the stuff.
But yeah, I'm sure there's like a whole list of.
I'm still gonna try to get Katie to read it. Maybe sometime next year.
I might give it a try.
Because
I can't guarantee that I'll make it through it, but
yeah, if we're talking about books that
it might be a DNF, but
I can't stop thinking about, this as one of them, and there's a lot of reasons for that, but definitely gonna be one of my top books for that reason.
That's fair.
That is fair, yeah.
So totally switching gears here. These do not have any similarities whatsoever. I discovered a new favorite author for me this year. So little like hint at what's to come. There may be a second book by this same author that made it into my top 10. So that's saying a lot.
Really?
And I have gotten to connect with her on social media this year and even got invited to join in a Zoom for her newer book. So this is her book that came out last year, but I did not read it until earlier this year. And it's called The Last Love Note by Emma Gray. So this book, like, you definitely have to be in the right mindset for it. I will say that. This is not like your typical lighthearted rom-com, but it is still a romance. So it is in the romance category. It's a second chance romance story. And there are no spoilers here. It starts out this way, so I'm not giving anything away, but it follows a main character who it's in the aftermath of her husband passing away. So obviously there's there's grief, and this book is sad in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
But also I found myself laughing in parts too, and it's very real, very relatable, very raw. And then a thing to know about this particular author is that she wrote this kind of as like a way to heal after her own experience where her husband died. Not from the same, she like wrote like a fictitious, like a different way that this character died. But it was still kind of like, it's almost like she was like channeling herself. Like it was, she kind of put herself into her character in this book. So I think that's just what made it so excellent too, is that it was like written from a very personal place of grief. And I don't have enough words to describe how much I loved this book. And it has like a really pretty cover too, but it's been such a joy to get to connect with her, and she's such a delight, and she's from Australia, and so I like love listening to her accent.
She's the cutest.
And yeah, we just love her. So I highly recommend this book. She's an amazing writer. I can't say how good of a writer she is.
If you guys remember, we did our reel on our book Sandwich. It was one of our bigger reels, and this was the book that was in the middle of the book Sandwich. And she told us after we made that reel how many people were sending it to her.
And it was actually before I even read the book.
So it
just appeared in our reel.
It was just like, you guys have no idea how much that reel helped my book.
Yeah.
Because it was like in the middle of the book Sandwich.
So I ended up sending her a couple book Sandwich stickers too. And because
she was just, it was just really kind of cool. She helped the reel, we helped. It was just cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. Mm-hmm.
So, my next book, I had to pick one rom-com. I didn't read a lot of rom-coms.
You were in a rom-com phase for a little while.
I think I read 4 rom-coms this year, so I wanted to pick my favorite one from the year. And that's going to be this one here, The Kindred Spirits Supper Club. So we just read her Christmas book, Once Upon a December, in our book club. So this was the first book I read probably earlier this year.
Yeah, I don't remember when you read it,
but I thought it was so good. If you need a cozy, little bit of magical romance that takes place in Wisconsin.
Yes, I think all of her books have like the magical realism element in them.
Yes,
I think, and then they all take place in different parts of Wisconsin.
And she likes food and beverages, and I don't know. This book was just really, really, really good, and the characters are super likable. It takes place at a supper club in the Wisconsin Dells. And Katie's been connecting with this author too, which has been kind of cool.
Yeah, I asked her some questions since she couldn't. So I first asked her if she could actually be on the live, like our Google Meet or whatever, for our virtual book club that we just did for her Christmas book. She wasn't available, but she was like, if you want to like ask your people if they have questions for me, I can answer them, and then you can like share them during your chat. So that was kind of fun.
So she's been pretty cool. So this is now I've read 2 of her books. We own, I think, 5 other ones. 4 or 5 other ones. So I'm definitely going to read.
I've only read the Christmas one so far. So this will be my next one that I'll read.
But I definitely enjoyed this book. It had, so the spirits in this book are actually like ghosts. So that's kind of the magical realism aspect. And the main character, Sabrina, her and her family can like talk to ghosts. It's kind of like, I don't know if they call it like positive thing, but they're able to see and help ghosts. They got to help them get to the other side. And one of the ghosts ends up being the other main character, Ray, his uncle. So there's this connection, but really, really fun. I mean, just super cute. And
it's got a cute cover to it.
Highly recommend this one, and probably any of her books. I'd say if you can find any of them. We found a lot of them at bookstores, used bookstores. I know, like Luck, Love, and Lemon Pie. She's got The Coincidence of Coconut Cake.
We don't have the Lemon Pie one yet.
Her
that's when
first book,
and then there's a different...
The Optimist's Guide of Letting Go.
Maybe we do have the Lemon Pie one.
And then The Simplicity of Cider is kind of her fall book.
We both missed the boat on that one for fall, and now I refuse to read it until it's fall again. So that one I'll be waiting on.
She's written quite a few books. I mean, maybe an author you don't haven't familiar with, but highly check them out.
And we're partial to recommending her because she is a fellow Midwestern
I just like her style with the food and fun and magic.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
And then let's see. Switching gears. Not a rom-com.
Do you know how many books you read this year?
Who? Both of us? Maybe if you're just now tuning in, you didn't hear me. I think I said it right at the beginning, but I will definitely finish an audiobook tonight or tomorrow, which will put me at 140 books for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many off the top of your head for you?
I will be at 21. So
that's
pretty
really,
good.
That's really good for him for like just now,
My
not
goal,
just now, but recently becoming like a legit reader.
My goal was 12.
Yeah, so you almost doubled that.
I'm going to be at 21, so that's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
My next year goal will be 24. I'm going to try to go.
Then you can try to.
And then maybe I'll get 30.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm never going to set a very high goal because I just know I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
27?
27?
Nice.
But that's great.
I mean,
I sometimes I feel bad telling people because I don't want anybody to ever feel bad, like, at all. I feel like it's amazing if you read one book. I just feel like there are so many people who don't read at all.
I mean,
literally do not read anything.
I think a book a month is a great accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
If you can commit to one book a month, that's an excellent accomplishment.
Yes.
Anything over... I heard recently on the radio that the average person reads 10 books a year, which I was actually surprised
That's surprising, actually, to me.
But on average, you know, they obviously include year 140. But like I thought that was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I was thinking it'd be lower.
Yeah.
But there's obviously people who read 0. And there's people who read like, people who read like 300 a year.
Oh yeah, there's people who read more than I do, and I can't wrap my head around that. But you sometimes have to put it into perspective. These are people who maybe are retired and they literally can sit around and read to their heart's content. I am a mom of 3 young children, so that is just not possible for me right now in my life. Or you have people at jobs where they are able to listen to audiobooks throughout their work day, and like I do a ton of audiobooks, but like I can't just like do that for 8 hours straight. I'd read even more if I could do that, because some audiobooks are only like 6 to 8 hours long,
Yeah.
And I listen to them on like 2 to 2.5 speed.
That's just great. Yeah, so I think any amount of books a year is excellent.
Yep, that's awesome.
And make your goal realistic.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna say I'm gonna read 50 books this year because I don't think I could.
Yeah.
I mean,
it can be kind of a letdown, even though it's not a competition or race.
If I can get through 2 a month, I'd be very happy with that. Mm-hmm. So my goal is 12. I hit. I have to finish the one I'm reading, and I'll be at 21.
Yeah, there you go.
I did 71.
There you go.
Ooh.
That's awesome. And you did mostly physical. That's really impressive.
That's good.
Now I am really curious to find out how many audiobooks I did. Like I said, I know that I still did more physical books than I did audio, but like the fact that I did a ton of audiobooks. Yeah. It'd be interesting to count it up and see how many.
One of mine in the stack was partial audio.
That's true.
But
you did audiobooks for the very first time, but it wasn't like you didn't do the whole thing on audio, but the majority of it.
Yeah, so I haven't really done. I'm someone who could listen to books at work.
You could. He
He
drives a mail truck, and
I just don't.
Could.
I don't know. I don't think I could pay attention. I don't know.
You should try it again, another book.
Maybe.
I don't know, with the right book.
If I get a good recommendation, yes, for an audiobook.
Yeah. So my next book is We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang. If you have not heard of her yet or have yet to read anything by her, I absolutely recommend her. She's become an auto-buy author for me. So I read this one, I think in March of this year. As you can tell, it's got like the shamrocks on it. So it felt appropriate.
Very Irish.
And it's a very, Irish Catholic family. It's about an Irish Catholic family. This book really got me on to like just family drama, like domestic fiction, and I know you're into that too.
It's good stuff.
I think I don't know. It's like I know that could like feel depressing when you say that, or like, oh, why would I want to read about like a broken family and all their problems and stuff like that? But I think it makes, I don't know, it's relatable because it just makes you feel like, oh, like I have my own problems with my own family, and then like to realize that, and I know that this is fiction, but I mean it is realistic. Like it's writing about people with real problems, but how they can like work their way through that. And like, she's a really excellent writer where like her characters have so much depth. And it's so crazy because it's not really like you wouldn't call it a fast paced book. It's not a thriller or anything, but I just couldn't put it down. I just got like so immersed in it, in the characters. And I just loved it so much. And it's like pretty short. It's a quick read. So if you're like me and you like to kind of theme your reads too, this could be like a good March read, or just read it whenever. But I don't think she had anything before this one. I want to say this was her very first book. And then she has The Connellys of County Down is what it's called, and then a brand new one that is on its way to me soon. But I did also read The Connellys of County Down this year, and I didn't like it as much as this one, but I did still like it.
I'm starting.
Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. I have still not read anything by her yet, but I would like to. She is on my radar. So yeah, We Are the Brennans. Excellent book. I think this one was one that like exceeded my expectations. I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel about it, and I just really enjoyed it.
You were feeling that one.
Yes.
For sure. So my next book is, this could be in my top 3, just based on how much I enjoyed it. And for me too, being a slow reader, it's how quickly I read a book. Because the one book I don't have is the one I've read the quickest. But like if I'm reading a book really fast, that means I'm really into it. Because I'm not generally a fast reader. But this is one I read pretty quickly because it was so crazy. This is my introduction to a psychological thriller. You Know What You Did. This book was really just trippy. And the ending was out of this world, shocking, which is something I'm really into. But this, one of those books where like, unreliable narrator, she's telling you the story and you don't know who to believe. If she's telling the truth, if it's in her head, who else would have done it? And there's all these weird dead mice. It's just, I won't say too much, but I love this book. And this author has been really, really cool. She just like responds to everything when we take her in her books. So I'd be interested if another book comes out by her, because I'd love to read it.
This is an aardvark pick. And I love aardvark.
I have that. Ooh, yeah.
I know. I need to put it on my like soon to be read list.
This
into
is one.
2025.
Yeah, this is one I just grabbed off our back shelf on a whim. Like, I need a new book to read. This looks like a good one, and it sucked me in from the beginning. And so I really like this book. So this has really been the only psychological thriller I've read so far. I mean, I guess
no, because Geneva Rose is pretty much psychological thriller. I would think is what you would call her books, but I don't know if this one just like really got in your head like more. Yeah, probably
because it's really one of those books where you don't know what's happening. I DNF'd that one.
Oh well, it's not for everyone. Yep.
Cassie, hi. Yeah, I mean, maybe check it back out, but because the ending, I mean, the ending is what really just blew it away for me. But I honestly, Katie and I talk about this a lot. I'm not opposed to slow books. I can handle a slow book.
But I
that's what I'm saying. You have a hard time with slower books, but I don't.
Yeah.
Like, especially if the slowness is just good development of the characters.
But sometimes I'm just kind of like, all right, let's get a move on. And
or,
I don't know if that says something bad about me or not, but I don't know, I just get bored easily.
Yeah, so some of these, so you may think this is slow, but we're different in that aspect where I'm like, I love the character development in this book, and you're like, it's taking forever.
Like, all right, like, I'm waiting for somebody to, DIE or find out who the KILLER is, it's just like.
What wine is it tonight?
What wine is it?
Oh, the last one at the wedding. No, yeah. Did you finish it already? Yeah.
Who was that? It disappeared.
That was Cassie.
Oh, okay.
This is
layer cake.
Layer cake. It's a Shiraz. Layer cake Shiraz.
Yeah, the Shiraz.
Yeah. No, I have not started. Neither of us have started it yet.
No, I will wait till a little closer because I am a fast reader. I need to start my other thriller for my in-person book club first because I meet for that one first. So I'll be starting that one tomorrow. Yeah. But the virtual book club one I'll probably wait till about 7 to 10 days before we meet.
Since I am a slow,
that's typically my. You need to start sooner, but I can start a little closer.
So we're talking about The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Rekulak. That is our next virtual book club book. If you want to join in.
Yeah, plenty of time to do that.
Plenty of time.
January 19th is when we're meeting.
We're going to be meeting on that one. So that's going to be a fun
book. I almost put his other book in my top 10. That was another really close one because it did get me out of a thriller slump this year. Hidden Pictures, if you need a recommendation there, which is not in this stack, but it was excellent. So that's why I'm super excited to read that one. But that was a really unique thriller, and yeah, he's definitely an author that's like I'm a fan officially. Yeah. And you still need to read Hidden Pictures because it was very good. and I think you would like that one.
And we are in talks with him to maybe join in on the meeting.
Yes, so I'm crossing my fingers that he's a yes, because
maybe he can join
I'm just
in
glad that he responded,
with us.
which was amazing. And he was like, I might not be available, but I'll get in touch with you again, like in the new year, and so hopefully.
So did you finish it, Cassie? Yeah, it'd be interesting what you say, what you thought of it.
Yeah,
it looks awesome. I'm super excited about that one.
Yeah.
I might be talking about that one next year.
Yeah, you might be like...
as one of my favorite reads.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got?
All right, yeah, massively switching gears here. Back to romance.
We got a
kind of going
good selection.
back and forth here. I know, I looked at my stats today and I was like, man, I like have a pretty good variety here. Like,
that's good.
I was pretty proud of myself, you know?
That's a good sign.
Because I feel like for the longest time, I was such a thriller junkie, which is not a bad thing. I mean, if that's what you like, that's what you like. But I think I did kind of set...
Hidden Pictures was so good.
Yeah.
Excited for...
Yes. I don't know if I would say it was like necessarily a goal, but it might have been in my head that I was like, I just want to start branching out and like read other things and just kind of see how it goes. Not that you ever want to force yourself to read something that you're just not liking, but just to try things. And
it's good to get out of your comfort zone
because
you might like
as you can see, some of these books that are in my top 10, like one of them would be considered contemporary fiction, like slash domestic fiction, which is not romance or thriller.
We've had a good selection of genres so far.
So yeah.
I think we have all the genres in here.
I know, almost, well,
except for historical fiction. It'll be a tough sell for either.
However, it's not in the stack, but it was very good. Oh, you want to hear a review? Oh, okay. You're waiting. Pressure.
I don't know. Hopefully someone starts it in our group chat.
I know, right?
Someone finishes it.
I have not started it yet. I don't remember what I was gonna say now.
You're talking about historical fiction.
Oh yes,
The Frozen River?
Yep, that's the one. I was gonna say a historical fiction book that I read this year that I absolutely loved was The Frozen River. One that I would definitely recommend. I also really liked The Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek. So if you're a historical fiction fan, those are two that I would recommend and that maybe you have already read. So no, I'm trying to get into that more too, but it's still just not my it's not a go-to genre for me. I have to mentally prepare myself to read something like that, or I don't know. But I am glad that I gave both of those a chance, and I really did enjoy them. But they just did not make the cut as far as this goes. But this is an obvious one for me as well, because Emily Henry and Abby Jimenez are by far my favorite romance authors. So this is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This is her most recent book. And it's crazy that we're already almost to 2025, and so she already has another one coming out in April, so I will for sure be scooping that one up as soon as possible once that releases. But no, I love this. One of my top reads from last year, was it 2023? Or was it a 2022 book? I think it was 2023, was Yours Truly. And I loved that one. And it ended up being my favorite book of the year, of the entire year. So this ended up topping that.
Really?
And I loved it so much. I mean, it's really hard to put her up against Emily Henry because they're similar, but they do have some differences. And so I don't know, but I just feel like they do romance so well, and there's the comedy obviously, but there's so much depth to their writing as well. I still am really trying to get Corey to... So you want me to read the Flesh book? Okay, what I want you to do is finally read an Emily Henry or an Abby Jimenez book in 2025. Okay. Because you need to see the hype.
Do a book swap.
And why I'm so obsessed.
All right.
I mean, I can guarantee you will love it. If you've liked some of these other rom-coms that, I'm sorry, I don't think they do live up to the hype of these other two authors, then you won't be disappointed.
All right.
So.
We'll have to do a book swap.
Yep, book swap. Right, your turn.
So my next one, can't get into fantasy. Yeah.
Yeah, The Hunger Games is great. I actually really wanted to reread The Hunger Games this year, and it did not happen. So maybe 2025 is my year to reread them, because I love those books, but it's been a long time since I read them.
A lot of people say...
And I love the movies, too.
A lot of people in our comments and stuff say I should read a fantasy book. They're like, did you read Divine Rivals? And I'm like, I mean, I don't know.
He hasn't done one yet.
So maybe that would be something that would be one to for me to experiment with. Mm-hmm. Maybe not that one, but a fantasy book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if I got the right recommendation, because I think I could get into it. Mm-hmm. Possibly.
Well, In the Lives of Puppets was kind of
Yeah,
fantasy.
and that's it. Yeah,
Mhm.
that I was gonna talk
So
about that
there
one,
you go.
but like more like romantasy.
Romantasy,
Like,
yes.
you know.
And that's actually what I like more than just straight up fantasy. So you may even say that's cheating a little bit where there's romance in it too.
It's still fantasy. All right, so my next book is one we actually both have read. Maybe it was close on your list, but this was a memoir. I want to choose a memoir. But it's this one right here, Crying in H Mart. I thought brilliantly written book, just super good, super sad,
Very sad,
but super just
also makes you hungry. I was hungry during a lot of it. I listened to it on audio.
You listened to audio.
He read the physical book. I did the audio.
But just an excellent book. If you need a memoir, check this one out. I thought it was so excellent. So Michelle, she's in a rock band called Japanese Breakfast, and just kind of telling her story about her growing up as an Asian American and just what she went through. Her family life was not the best, and just a really
it's like a book of like healing too. I feel like there's like a healing, element to it with like her and her mom's relationship, and I don't know, it's just
really sad.
It almost reads like a fiction book, honestly.
Yes, it does.
It's that, like, I feel like that is a testament to like her writing skills of like telling her own story. I still think because you loved it so much, that's where you should give the audiobook version of it a try, because I just thought it was amazing to listen to her personally read it.
Yeah.
Like when you can get an audiobook of where the actual author is reading it, it's next level, like for the experience, I think.
But 100%, if you need a memoir, if you haven't read this one yet, check it out on audio or the physical book. It'll blow your mind. It'll really be a good read for you. She is a brilliant storyteller, obviously a songwriter, and her story is sad but also redeeming, and it's kind of a coming of age story for her growing up and just how she got to be where she is now. But give this one a try.
Yeah.
For real.
Let's see. Next for me, why are mine disappearing? Oh, because I put 3 down here. I was like, why are mine disappearing faster than yours?
Missed a
and now a comment disappeared. If we miss your comment, we will check it out when we're done. But that was one thing we noticed when like the 2 times that the orientation of this was different, where it was like vertical, which we like horizontal for YouTube, but like when it was vertical, the comments like stay there or something, or they're easier to keep up with. But like on here, for some reason, they like disappear really fast. So I don't know if there's like a setting that we can like change that to or what, but I don't know if he's gonna like go check his phone and try to find the comments now. But the next book I'm gonna talk about is The Return of Ellie Black by Emiko Jean. I don't know, like I had this one on my shelf for quite some time, and I don't really know why I wasn't picking it up, but then I started to see a couple different reviews of it. And I was like, all right, I need to stop putting this one off. And I'm so glad. Time travel books, fantastical, but somehow almost believable. I like time travel books too. Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, so one second. Monet Doyle said, they have H Mart where I live.
Oh, okay.
They have a hot dog place inside, and you can get toppings on it. They're so good.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
That's fun.
So cool.
Yeah. We do not have H Mart near us.
No, we do not. So yeah, this one's called The Return of Ellie Black. A missing girl returns, but that isn't the end of the story. It's only the beginning. I would love to see this one on social media more, but like I said, I did see a couple like really good reviews, so I feel like it's like an what's the word I'm looking for?
Under the radar? Appreciated?
Yeah, like underappreciated book. I feel like it should be getting more attention. And it's like it's pretty quick. I don't know if it's even 300 pages or if it is it's like slightly over. Yeah, it's like right about 300 pages. I believe this might be a debut. Okay, so she had some young adult books before, and I think Mika in Real Life is a book she had as well. So maybe this is like a second book for her, but really good. I wouldn't really call it a thriller. I think it's more of a mystery. And it was just like a super quick read for me. I flew through it. It was one of those that I kept like wanting to go back to it, and I like didn't want to put it down. Like when I had to put it down, I'm pretty sure that I think the chapters are really short too, which is like heaven for me.
That's the best.
Show me a book with short chapters and I'm like, I'm in. I don't even care what it's about. I mean, that's not true, but like I feel like it's just so much. Yeah, it's just so much easier. So much easier to read. I mean, I will give a little bit of a warning. Some of the content is a little bit grisly, because it is like about a girl getting abducted, and talks about like some other young girls getting abducted and like kind of how they were treated during their abduction. So just as a warning there. But I would say even somebody who struggles with like being scared or spooked, or it's not like massively disturbing, I guess you could say. Or like I feel like I could still sleep at night, but I mean it does disturb you, just because, you know, it's really upsetting to hear, especially from the main character's perspective. So it kind of does like a back and forth. So it's like a dual perspective between our main girl character here and then like the detective involved in the case. And I love like a good detective story too. So I highly recommend this one. It was very, very good.
Excellent. All right, so my next book is, I guess we can put it in that fantasy genre. This is one we both also read for
book club.
For her
in-person book
club.
Her
in-person book club. I wanted to join on this month because I wanted to read this book. But it's In the Lives of Puppets by T.J. Klune.
This was both of our first books by him.
Yeah, so I started this book physically. I got maybe like 100 pages in. I did finish it on audiobook due to time. But also because the audiobook was so awesome.
It was so good. We both, I did a back and forth, like a combo of two, physical and audio.
The narrator.
The audiobook was incredible.
Just did an awesome job with all the voices, and these are robots. So he did all these crazy robotic voices and switched them.
Oh, so it was amazing.
Just brilliant. Just brilliant. So if you want an audiobook, look into
That's
this
gonna keep your attention, and it's like amusing and everything.
Yeah.
This book like literally made me laugh out loud, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Like I thought it was really funny.
The characters are funny. There's a couple characters that are just super funny.
There's one that's like basically like inspired by a Roomba, like the Roomba vacuum.
Rambo the Roomba. But this book, super clever book. You probably have read this book, but I mean,
this is one that like after we discussed it at book club, I went back and changed my rating. So like it's like, I don't know if you've ever done that before, like where you've either done that for bad or for good, where you've gone back and been like, now that I've talked about it with people, maybe I like it less or maybe I like it more. This is one where I'm like, I think this deserves 5 stars. I'm pretty sure I ended up giving it 5 stars, and originally I gave it like 4 or something like that, but I really enjoyed it. I feel like the reason I like initially went with the lower star rating was because it felt a little slow at times, but I think and you know how I struggle with slow books, but I think it was just so rich in the writing that I was able to like get past that. And I think it was just so heartwarming. Like, pulls at your heartstrings.
a great book. I mean,
can't you totally I think we talked about it with book club, but I could totally picture it being a movie.
Yeah.
I would love it if they make it into a movie.
Yeah, great story, funny, not a lot of characters, really likable characters. A lot happens. I mean, this book, there's just a ton of stuff happens. The ending's real good. I thought it was great. So
it almost has like the I did a few books this year once it settles in. Yes, yeah. That's what I was wondering. Like, I feel like sometimes you change your mind, like about a book.
Yeah, it needs
that happened to her.
It needs to mellow, and what we found out once talking about it with other people and getting their viewpoints. That's why book clubs are so great. That's when you're like, you know what, you're right. That was good. I mean, it was better or worse than what I thought.
Yep.
So.
But
check it out.
That one has like similarities to Pinocchio, as you can see, like puppets as like part of the title, and then also I was getting like Wizard of Oz vibes a little bit too.
Yeah. And Swiss Family Robinson.
Yes, with like the cover is just stunning.
Tons of tie-ins. We found another one of his books at a thrift store.
The House in the
Cerulean Sea.
That'll be my next read by him, and we have that on our
That was a good score.
Yeah, so I have 3 more on the floor because I was keeping them hidden. Those are going to be like my top 3. But before we get to that, this one, I'm so excited to talk about it. And I've gotten to connect with her on Instagram too. I think it has just like made her day, like when I have shared about her book, because it hasn't actually published yet. So that's kind of cool. And I can put it on your radar so that you can pick it up right away when it publishes. This comes out on, let me make sure I'm getting it right. I want to say January 14th. That seems right. Oh, it says it right here. Perfect. On the binding, it just says January 2025, but on the front, it does say January 14th. It's called Let's Call a Truce by Amy Buchanan. So this comes out very soon. It's got like a really fun, happy cover too. I love the pink and blue. So this book, like, yes, it's a rom-com. You could think it's surface level just by looking at the cover. You're like, oh, it's gonna just be like any other rom-com. But this book had so much depth to it. If you do not appreciate spice in books, I will say that this one is quite spicy in a couple chapters. I don't remember how many. I do think that they are skippable though, to where you're not losing like a bunch of plot points. So I would say maybe don't write it off, because I feel like you can skip past those parts if you want, because I feel like you'd miss out on like the meat of the book. And I just feel like this one like pleasantly surprised me. I loved the main characters. They just were so well written. Like I feel like the character development was incredible. And I was like, this is one of those ones like towards the end, I was bawling, like not even kidding you, bawling. And like he was sleeping, so he didn't hear any of that. But I was just like, it was one of those where like my face was wet, like I needed Kleenex. It was so good. It was like a very nice, happy surprise. And the fact that I got to read it ahead of pub date was really exciting. So I don't know. I feel like I want to support her and get like the completed copy, because I loved it so much. And then I could like bless a little free library with my ARC that I got for free, you know. So I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah. I don't usually read rom-com.
The shallow content.
Oh,
okay, good. Yeah,
nice.
I don't think it's shallow. I really don't. I feel like there's so much more to it.
Yeah. A funny good bad.
And the banter is top notch, because it's an enemies to lovers romance. I don't know if I said that at first.
You didn't.
Friends to lovers is my go-to trope, but I have read some enemies to lovers books this year that I really liked. I'm starting to really enjoy it, because it's just like the banter is like top notch. Like,
yeah,
you know, because then I feel like it's that much sweeter when they actually come together then, because they were kind of mean to each other and like had all these like things, you know, kind of getting on each other's nerves, and then it's like they fall in love and it's like, oh,
it's so sweet.
Yeah. So I don't know. But I really liked it.
All right, so my next one is a book that we both have read as well. And it was for our virtual book club like 3 months ago.
During spooky season.
During spooky
that was
season.
Our October
we used
read.
to live here.
Yes. Creepy.
Yes.
That was a close one for me too, to make it into my top.
It was creepy, and this book generated some excellent discussion. Mostly,
we still are all very confused.
Mostly because the story is unfinished. Because
I think there's going to be
supposed to be
I sincerely
at
hope
least
so.
one, maybe two more books to this series, I guess. But there is a lot of unanswered questions. But it created so much excellent discussion, and it's like I keep thinking about what could happen, or what did happen in this book. This is one that stuck with me. That's why I'm adding it to my list. But
they're making it a show or a movie too, and I'm very impatiently waiting for that, because Blake Lively is going to star in it. So yeah, I'll be excited to watch it, but I'll be watching it like this. That's what I do for like these creepy horror movies or shows.
Just a really eerie story.
It's one thing to read it, but like to watch
really
it.
Really creepy, yeah. There was a point when I was reading this book and Katie was gone for the night, and I had to get up and lock the back door because I was so terrified.
So maybe this isn't a book for you if you're easily scared. But
it's not scary. It's more.
I don't know.
It's just unnerving.
It's unnerving. I've read scarier books.
Yeah.
This definitely wasn't like the scariest book I've ever read.
It's not scary. It's just like it's the kind of scary that
gets
gets
like
me.
under your skin.
Like when people like watching or like watching your house or like sneaking into your house. I don't know. It was just, but it's about a family who comes to this house that used to live in this house, and they don't leave.
Yeah.
And they keep hanging around.
Overstay their welcome.
They keep hanging around. There's a character named Thomas. Dude is just terrifying, and he lives in like every generation. I don't know, but
Yeah.
This book is I mean, this
This is a debut for him too.
This is a debut,
So I
but
was very impressed.
He got
by that.
tons of press on Reddit, and like, this book just went crazy. At one
I'm
point,
seeing it everywhere.
At one point, this book was almost impossible to find because it was so popular and it was selling so many copies. So maybe check it out this year. Maybe you want to wait till October or something, but it might be fun for January if you need a little something to boost.
And it could be a good January book because it takes place in the wintertime.
You're right.
There was snow on the ground during the entire book.
There you go.
So there you go.
Creepy January for you.
So let's see. Make sure I'm doing this in the right order. Okay, we're gonna start with my number 3 book. All right.
Number 3 top.
Top 3 here. So my number 3 book is Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose. We have sung her praises a lot this year.
Book for sure.
This is her newest release, but she's coming out with another new book in April, which I'm very excited about. And so yeah, I shouldn't say I've loved everything she's written. There's only been one book I've read by her so far that I was like meh about, but otherwise I love her. And yeah, this one was great. I did not guess the ending, and this edition is really, really cool, by the way. This one came from Barnes & Noble. It like has this awesome sleeve that if you take out the actual book, this is just like the book, and it looks like this.
It's like a VHS.
Just pretty sweet. As in, I loved this book so much that I have multiple copies of it. So 2 of them are on loan to other people right now.
Yeah, our signed copies.
But yeah, we got to meet her earlier this year. I know we've talked about that. And her husband, they're hilarious. If you have not read anything by her yet, you should do that. But also,
do you change bookmarks?
When I start a new book?
Yeah.
Like switch to it. Yeah, I don't use the same one.
Yeah. You switch bookmarks.
I have so many bookmarks. They're like coming out my ears. I know I've said this before on here, but if you need some bookmarks and you find yourself dog-earing books, please don't do that.
Never.
But if you have a bookmark shortage and you don't want to secure bookmarks, I have some and would be willing to send them to you. Which book of hers was I mad about? One of Us is Dead. And the only reason I was just kind of like, I didn't love it is because I'm not a Desperate Housewives fan. And so I felt like it was just almost like drama Desperate Housewives mixed with murder. And I was just kind of like,
it just wasn't your
I just
plot.
was not here for it, I guess you could say. I just feel like her other books were better, in my opinion. But then some people loved it. So maybe if you're a Desperate Housewives fan and you like all that like woman drama, then you would eat it up like candy. But it just wasn't for me.
It was.
But I didn't dislike it. I love her so much as an author that I actually still want that book for my collection. So like I still want it on my shelves because I want all of her books. Like I don't have it yet.
That's the last one you need, or what?
I need to have that one. Otherwise, I have all of her books so far. So yeah, I've had it in my Amazon cart for like a really long time. But yeah, that's how much I love her that I still want it. Like, cause when you love an author, like you want all their books. So yeah, this one was personalized.
Yeah.
This is Katie.
I'll talk about this.
This is the
I'll
other
talk
book.
about this one next.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yes, love her books.
Fetish.
Oh yeah, they're great. Me too. I have, like I said, I have so many. I like having a bunch of bookmarks. I automatically get some every month because I subscribe to both Book of the Month and Aardvark, which I'm probably saying goodbye to Book of the Month, which is a little sad. But I'll still get bookmarks from Aardvark. You get one for each book that you get, so I like keep getting them, and then I've gotten them from other.
I have a couple bookmarks that I really like.
Yeah.
Like a couple like really heavy duty ones that I really like, so I usually use those. But I do like to switch. It is fun. Good to switch it up. Because you get sick of a bookmark. You put it in the drawer, you use it like in 10 books from now. So my next, I'm going to share this one since we talked about Geneva Rose, but I'll show you this copy of this book is signed to Katie, which is pretty cool.
Yes, I got that one personalized.
It says to Katie.
Yeah.
But this is her book, You Shouldn't Have Come Here. So I loved Homes Where the Bodies Are too, but I also loved this one. I don't know, it's hard to say which one I liked more.
I came downstairs to see our stacks because I put mine together earlier because, of course, I made my post on Instagram earlier. So then I knew, like, what books, physically I was going to be gathering up. But then when I saw his stack, I was, like, counting them. And I was like, oh. I'm like, You shouldn't have come here over Home is Where the Bodies Are. Because I kind of thought, one of his is going to, like, overlap with mine. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very hard to... I loved them both a lot. But this one... the ending was so twisty that it's hard to not love. You know, I just loved it. Yeah, I loved it. I mean, it's a dual perspective, very creepy. Some people think at one point it is going to be more like a romantic.
I know. I was like, wait, am I reading a romance or am I reading a
but
thriller?
Trust me, it is not that way. I can't say anymore, but it is not that way. But it almost seems like it is, but it is dual perspectives. And both the characters are just so messed up.
If you've ever watched, so what I like to compare it to and what I said to him when I read it, because I read it quite a while before you did. In fact, I actually got my copy that I first read from the library. So again, it's a testament to how much I love her that I was like, I need to own it. And then of course you read this once we owned it. But it reminds me of Dexter. I don't know if you've ever read the books or watched the show. We still have yet to read the books. I actually got him all of the books in the series last Christmas.
You did, yeah.
And neither of us have read
them.
even the first book in the series.
You're right.
I think it's hard for us because we already watched the show, so it's weird to like go back and read the books. But I am still curious to see how the books are like different from the show. But we loved the show Dexter, and I think that this gives me Dexter vibes.
Yeah, it's very.
That's all I'll say. I don't want to ruin anything.
Really good if you want kind of a wild ride, super twisty. Like it's not really a whodunit because there's only two characters.
The best way I can describe this is it's like unreliable narrators.
Yeah.
Because it's dual perspective, so you're kind of like, who do you trust? Who do you believe? Like, what's going on? Like,
who's not telling the truth?
Yep. So unreliable narrators, for sure.
So if you haven't read any of her books, one of these two would be an excellent place to start, or The Perfect Marriage.
And then she has The Perfect Divorce coming out in April.
So just read all three this year.
And then, I don't know, she's so talented because then she has two other books that are not thrillers. So she has like a contemporary like women's fiction book that I still have yet to read, and then a rom-com. And it was very cute and like squeaky clean. It was a closed door romance. It was very cute.
Yeah.
So I just think she's very talented to be able to like switch genres and stuff like that.
And she said the spice level to that book was a McChicken.
So
not super spicy.
The premise is that it's a woman who ends up getting in an accident where she has amnesia. So it's like it's pretty poor form to do anything. With somebody who can't fully remember everything.
Spice, yes.
So that would be a good book to check out.
McChicken.
And I heard she is writing her first horror book now too, though. So I'm very excited.
That'll be good.
So clearly you can tell we have like a Geneva Rose obsession. And so now my book 2. This was hard because I wasn't gonna have books tie, so it did end up in the second position.
Yeah.
But it was so good. And this is another one by Emma Gray. So I talked about The Last Love Note earlier. This is her most recent release called Pictures of You. I have not been able to shut up about this book on social media because it is so good. You collect bookmarks? Love it. We're not the only ones. Yeah, we have no shortage of bookmarks.
Like intentionally or unintentionally?
Yeah, let us know if it's intentional or not.
Yes.
This book is a romance. Again, I don't know if she'll ever write like a rom-com because there are funny parts in her books, but it's still just considered like contemporary romance. And again, like this one has like a lot of sad parts. So I would say be prepared to cry with her books for sure. So if that's not something you're in the mood for, intentionally,
yes.
I love it. They're fun to collect, just like books. Just like
you need a bookmark
books.
for each book. Yeah. Each book needs their own bookmark, yes.
So yes, you have to be probably in the right mindset.
I collect it intentionally also.
To read her books, but they are so good. Like I just feel like they'll like speak to your soul. This is one that I legitimately was ignoring my responsibilities to read. It was like when he comes home sometimes, like I think he can tell when I'm reading a book that I do not want to put down. And I will say that like he's very gracious like with that because I think he just tell. There's just this like vibe happening where like I am like oblivious to like anything that is happening around me. A surfboard, that is so fun. Like we've never been to Hawaii. That's a bucket list place for us. I love that. I would just be like oblivious to anything that is going on around me. And it was almost like it pained me to walk away from this book. It was, so you've found an excellent book if like you don't want to put it down, and then when you're away from it, all you can do is think about the next time that you get to pick it up. And
That's
I
for
just
real.
like I went through this book so fast. I haven't actually read this physical book, but I got it like I think after I had finished the digital arc of it. So yeah, I got to like read it on my Kindle, and then still got the physical copy from Zibby Publishing. So I'm kind of like an influencer with Zibby Publishing. So I was able to get this like before it published. And then I know I mentioned at the beginning of our chat here that I got to participate in a Zoom with Emma
With her.
Gray and
Yeah.
some other like select like influencers on Instagram. It was like so special,
That was awesome.
where we got to like ask her questions, and it was so fun. That'll be like that's like a highlight for me from 2024 that I got to be a part of that
For real.
and got to like read her beautiful books. So if it's not on your radar yet, put that one on
Yeah.
your radar.
Harry Potter books.
You took them wherever you went.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so special.
Well,
like where like you have such a connection to it.
For real.
It's like painful to like detach.
All right. So my next book, I know it's nonfiction. I had to include one nonfiction book. I
Oh, you
would've-
have two. You had Crying
Oh,
in
you
Ishmael.
did. The memoir, yes. But this is a book I really liked. And you may have seen it, you may have not, but it's The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This is a super popular book in the finance world. If you watch any YouTube or any YouTube finance stuff, which I do pretty much all the time. But this book it's a collection of about 17 short stories. So you can read them separately. You don't need to read it. It's not all collective. So you could read like one a week, or they're not tied together. But it talks about just different parts of our psychology and how it relates to our spending and our saving, and how your actions and how you think are going to affect how you handle your money, which I thought was really good and really interesting. I mean, everyone's talking about this book on the YouTube finance stuff, so it's probably not for everyone, but I thought it was really good. This is probably one of the first books I read this year, so I read it really early in the year.
It's one I would do on audio.
Yeah.
That's probably one I would actually really like to listen to.
It would be a great audiobook.
Because it'd probably feel like a podcast
Yeah,
if you
into
listen to
podcast stuff,
Yeah.
but it's just it's crazy how all that's tied together, and this book really exposes that. So if you're having trouble, with spending or saving, it might be in your mind. But
Yeah.
give it a try. It's not for everyone, but I try to read some nonfiction in the finance world. Just
as you can see,
It's
none
a
of
week.
my books are nonfiction.
it's a weakness.
Except the one that I keep up with always is my Bible. So that is my nonfiction one that I recommend. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I would do The Psychology of Money on audio. But I've also started to really love fiction on audio, which I thought I would never really get to that point. But I think with the right book, like fiction works for me on audio too. But I definitely do like it's like 9 times out of 10 I do not read a nonfiction book physically. Like I do it on audio. I don't know. I just feel like because it's like for me, I can focus on it, and like if I do get distracted for some reason for like a tiny little bit of time, it's not like I'm gonna miss some massive plot point. Like I'm still getting the gist of what I'm listening to. So that's why I typically prefer nonfiction that way. And I just like absorb the information better.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like that's just my preference, I guess. And I especially love memoirs on audio, which are nonfiction.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
And what's nice about this book is like every section would be like maybe a half hour. So it'd be like listening to a half-hour podcast.
Yeah.
So if you want to bust out some dishes or laundry,
Right.
you could listen to, one of the short stories in here.
Yeah.
And not have to worry about like keeping up with the plot.
Yeah. You're welcome. I did read one of yours. Yep. Yeah, I really loved it. And it was, so if you're watching right now, Sally, who is tuning in, she has a couple books. I have not gotten to the other one that you so graciously sent me. But she has one that kind of is, it's a devotional. And that was a perfect companion for me along with my like regular Bible reading. So I loved it. I should show you, Sally, sometime, how much of it I think I did underline like in your book. I hope that's like not a bad thing, but I'm pretty, and I do that in my Bible too. It took me a really long time to be okay with that. But like I have like a Bible that like you can write like in the margins on the sides of like of it. I don't know what you call that, but like I'm able to like write little notes or like something that stuck out to me from what I'm reading, or I'll underline things in there. But I did that in your book because I just felt like so many things spoke directly to my soul. So thank you for sharing your books with me. That was one that I did physically read. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it so much. So yeah, I should, after we're done with this, I can go back into like the description of our video, right?
Yep.
Like add links. So
Sure.
I want to add links for people to grab your books.
For sure.
And then let's see, I already did that one.
I think we're on to our top books.
Yeah, look at this, look at
Our
this.
top books of the year.
Okay, so this may not come as a shock to anyone because I've talked about this book ad nauseum this year.
I know.
Even though I really sung high praises of pictures of you just 2 seconds ago, but that's why it was hard because I feel like it's like almost a tie, but just still not quite. I adored Funny Story by Emily Henry.
I'm honored.
Yeah, I will do that, Sally. I'm saying it more than once now so that I will not forget.
You gotta do that. You gotta do that.
I have to make sure to do that. But yeah, I loved Funny Story by Emily Henry. I mean, I've loved everything that she's ever written. I guess I can't say that. I've not read everything she's ever written because she wrote some YA books that I still really want to read. But I would say the ones that most people are familiar with, I believe her debut adult novel is Beach Read. So yeah, I love Beach Read and on. I've read everything that she's ever written, and I just feel like she just like keeps getting like better with every book. Because Book Lovers was my top for her until I read this one, and you know how much I loved it by the fact that I rarely ever reread books. I read this in April when it came out, and then I reread it in June. Like, that's a pretty quick turnaround.
There you go.
I just loved everything about it. Like the main characters, she works at a library, which is adorable. He's been my favorite book boyfriend through the entire year. I think it's okay to say that in front of my husband because he's a fictional character. But like,
I'm gonna beat him up.
Their names are Daphne and Miles. I loved like the main characters' names. It was just so cute. Like, I mean, not that the whole thing was cute. There's obviously sad things and like, you know, their struggles and stuff like that. But like I said, I think Emily Henry does that so well. And yeah, I love like the cover. I mean, purple is my favorite color, so it just like works for me. And the fun part is, so I believe Emily Henry is from Michigan, and this book takes place in Michigan. And I went to what's it called? Mackinac Island, right?
Yep.
So I went to Mackinac Island over the summer with Corey's mom and sisters, and so I felt like it was a perfect time to reread it. So I brought this with me. Read it while I was in Michigan, so it was really
That's
fun.
awesome.
And it was like perfect. So if you've not read anything by Emily Henry, read this one first.
That's the one.
Because hers are not like interconnected. Abby Jimenez does that with hers, where it's like you don't have to read them in a certain order, but it kind of helps because all the characters are kind of like, I don't know, connected in some way, I guess. But hers are all standalone stories with completely different characters, where they don't intertwine at all. So it doesn't matter where you start. But yeah, she has another new book coming out in April too. Can't wait for that one.
Yep.
She can't write a bad book, in my opinion. I would read like her grocery list, which is actually what she calls her like her newsletter. It's like her. Like, I don't know. Like I can't remember the like what she says, but
that's funny.
I mean, that's always like a joke that people say if like they like an author so much that they would read what they write on their grocery list because it's just so good. They'd make a grocery list look interesting.
Probably better.
Yeah.
All right. So my last book is, if I had to choose a favorite book for the year, it would be this book, and it won't be a surprise once I show it because I've talked about it a lot too. Katie did read it. She didn't love it as much as I did.
But I really liked it a lot.
But she did really like it. But it's The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim. So this book crossed a lot of genres. It was horror, thriller, family drama, which is one of my favorite genres, the family drama. But really just really good book, well written. This was her first novel.
Yeah, see, I'm impressed.
Which,
It's a debut.
I mean, it's a little shorter. The ending was out of bounds, awesome, but just so much good messages in this book. It's, I don't know. It is a little weird. Obviously, you can see the chopsticks with the eyes, so there is a weird aspect. She has this weird craving to eat eyeballs, and you find out at the end why that is, and you also, it's just so it's psychological too. Like this book, it has so much going on for it, and Monica's been really cool too about. I don't know. She loves how much we've been talking about her book, and
again, not gonna be for everyone. But like it, I don't know.
It's not for everyone, but there's so much to it that I think a lot of people.
It's not just strictly horror. It's really not.
I wouldn't say horror. It's not scary.
Yeah.
But it is. Like it's just a little disturbing with the fact that she has this craving for human eyeballs.
Like, it's just like a psychological, like, clearly there's something going on with her and her mom, so it's like a lot of familial, like family stuff.
A lot of it is family oriented, and there's a lot of backstory, and there's a lot of talking about her family dynamic.
So it's not as scary as you might think from just like the cover alone.
Yeah, it's not scary. Yeah. It's just a little disturbing in a way.
Yeah.
But a lot of it's psychological, and you're like, is it real? Is it not happening? She has these dreams.
Yeah. Where you're like, is she dreaming?
Is this real or is it not real?
Excuse me.
And then the ending, it all comes together, and it was unexpected. But I'm gonna say this was my favorite book of the year, just because I liked it so much. I read it very fast, and I keep talking about it. I know. I told Katie she had to read it. You have to read this one.
You didn't tell me that, but yeah, and that's another aardvark pick too. We love aardvark.
Yeah, but I'm drawn to weird books, but just give this one a chance. I think you would like it. If not, I apologize, but I thought it was amazing.
Hold up our very different like favorite books of the year.
I mean,
I don't know. We have some variety.
That was
sure.
it. We had that was quite the selection. We hit on a lot of genres.
So hopefully we've given you some good book recommendations if you have not read any of these or some of these.
Now we can look forward to next year.
I don't know, before we sign off, if we can catch the comments fast enough or at least look at them later, but you should let us know if you have an absolute favorite read of the year or a few that were your favorites. It really is hard to narrow it down.
What your favorite book of the year was, because it's
But yeah, I'm gonna still sneak one more in. Like I said, I've got less than an hour left on my audiobook. It's so funny when you
All the Colors of the Dark tomorrow.
Yes.
You're gonna start it.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me. I forgot one of mine because I didn't have it physically, so I have to talk about it.
Great as always. Thanks, Cassie.
Yeah, before we sign off, for sure, one that I read recently was The Book Club Hotel. And I don't have it physically to show you. I'll pretend like this is the back of Funny Story. But if you need a physical, and the Book Club Hotel happens to be a purple book as well. It's a different shade of purple. I don't know, what would you even call this? Is this purple or is a purple blue?
It's blue.
I don't know. It's really pretty, whatever it is. But anyway, the Book Club Hotel is more of an actual purple book. But I read it on my Kindle, which is why I don't have it to show you. It was a delightful book. It's by Sarah Morgan. I'm definitely going to read more books by her. She has a lot of books. I don't even know how many she's written, but I literally just discovered her this year. So that's not even true. I knew about this book, I think even when it came out last year, but it didn't make it into my seasonal reading.
All the Colors of the Dark. Oh,
that's awesome. And Kindred. I read Kindred, and I am back into All the Colors of the Dark after taking a little bit of a break from it.
I saw it back on the coffee table.
So I am now reading it again.
We'll
see if it starts picking up for me a little bit more.
The book.
The Book of Lost Names. I have heard of that one. I want to look more into that one. Yeah, I love all of you guys sharing these. But yeah, so the Christmas book that I read was wonderful. It exceeded my expectations for sure. She just came out with a new one, so I was kind of sad that I was late to the game. I wish I would have read the one I just read last year, so that I could have read her new one. Because now I'm well, Christmas is done. Now I gotta save that one for next year. And she'll probably have a new one come out next year. So maybe I can read two of hers, next season. But no, it was so great. It was like family, friends oriented with just a dash of romance. So I like that sometimes, where like the romance isn't the main focus of the book.
Yeah.
And it just warmed my heart in so many ways. And it was like really, I could relate to like one of the characters for sure, because she's like about my age. Beartown. I have not read those books.
Read during Christmas in July.
That's true. I could do that because I did that this year actually with a different book. And it was really fun. So maybe I'll read like a couple of them in July. That's a good suggestion.
There you go.
Then I don't have to wait until all the way till next like November or December to read it.
Only
it's
6 months away.
Yeah, it was very good. But yeah, I could relate to one of the characters a lot because she was like turning 40 soon. I'm not gonna be 40 soon. I did just turn 37, but still like similar age. And yeah, I really liked it. It was told from multiple perspectives. Yeah. So if you've not read anything by her yet, Sarah Morgan, I would check that one out. But yeah, otherwise...
The Funeral Ladies.
I don't know if I have heard of any of those before. Yeah.
Well,
that's awesome.
Give something to look into.
Who are the authors of those books? Or is it the same author for a couple of them? Let us know in the comments, because, not that we need any more book recommendations, but we'll always take them.
We need recommendations too.
Yeah.
I need recommendations.
It's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm like, like overflowing here with books, physical books, and now that I added a Kindle to the mix, it's madness.
It's madness.
But in the best way.
So, yeah, that was good. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, yes. Message me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We always need recommendations.
But thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks everybody to watch. We had a pretty decent turnout tonight.
I guess the next time you see our faces on here, it will be 2025.
2025, we'll talk about the books we're going to be reading next year. I mean, if we can even know that. But
I already have my January pretty well planned out, which is weird for me because I normally don't make a plan. Or if I do, I don't stick to it. Just full transparency.
You make a plan, you just don't stick with it.
Exactly. I'm mood reader personified. I cannot.
I gotta figure out
can't help myself.
I gotta figure out which book I'm gonna read adjacent to our book club pick. So I gotta figure that out.
You have one from the library over here that you better read, or I'm just gonna return it. That's what you need to read.
That one, yeah, you're right.
I just decided for
adjacent to that one. So it's yes. So we're good.
But thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for watching. And you have a good New Year.
See you guys next year. So happy New Year.
Happy reading.